Hi, this is Linda Welsh from Linda Welsh Realty Group. So it is now the time of year when we're starting to see things heat up in the real estate market. And a lot of times we hear from people who are in conversations asking, do I really need a buyer's agent? And is it really worth all the effort to find somebody and have them represent us? So I want to give you a full perspective of why that should be important to you. In some cases, maybe there's a situation where it's not imperative, but in most cases, there's a lot of good reasons why you should work with a buyer's agent. Number one is this is not a typical real estate market. In fact, we almost never have a typical real estate market. It's always in flux. So knowing that everything is local, all markets are local, all situations are local, all neighborhoods might have different trends as far as whether increased inventory is happening or where the prices are dropping, and other things that may be not very relevant at the moment to a buyer but might be down the road, such as new schools coming on board, new redistricting of schools, traffic patterns, roads that are coming on, new developments. And for instance, if you are buying in a brand new development or one that was recently built, but they're still building and you might have to move in 2 or 3 years, well, that's a big consideration. So homes often receive multiple offers. If they're really good at being priced correctly, then you're going to want to make sure you work with somebody who really understands how to negotiate well, finds out what is important to the seller so that you know how to respond to that and how to frame an offer that will really stand out and make sense, but also work for you. So we're seeing more and more situations where buyers are asking for buy downs, which helps them get into a monthly payment that they can better afford, or a higher priced home that they might be more interested in. And I've worked with some buyers that at one point in time thought they didn't need representation. They thought maybe that they would get a better deal. That is sometimes possible, but in most cases, it's going to be factored in. So for instance, if you're trying to buy a house from a for sale by owner, typically those houses are going to go for less money because everybody wants a deal. But at the same time, the sellers are not well informed about all of the documents they need to present, all the things that they need to disclose, and you may be flying blind if you don't have some representation to really delve into all of that and understand the neighborhood, even things like whether or not this soil is prone to causing foundation problems, or there are issues with oak wilt, for instance. So things that, especially if you're moving from outside the area and you don't understand our ecostructure here, you're really going to want to work with a buyer's agent. The other thing is the buyer's agent really protects your interests, not the seller's. If you're going straight to a seller or straight to a listing agent, then what you're finding is that that listing agent is only representing the seller. They do not represent you. They cannot give you advice or opinion. They can't tell you how to structure an offer. If they were to do the paperwork for you, chances are it would be well skewed towards the seller's advantage. And you probably don't fully understand how those work unless you're also a licensed realtor and also very experienced. How can you compete without overpaying? Well, again, it's how you structure your deals. It's whether or not you have a great lender in your pocket, great inspector, etc. And a really good buyer's agent will have a short list of their very favorites that will help you get into the home of your dreams and structure offers and do negotiations that make sense. For instance, we have a house under contract right now where I'm representing the buyer, and they live out of state. They live in Alaska. So we're handling all of the things that they would ordinarily be here for, such as inspections, getting quotes on repairs, and renegotiating that contract in the 11th hour, because that's a really important point in the way that offers are structured and deals are done here in Texas. A really good buyer's agent is going to help you with analyzing your comparables. They're going to look at homes that sold in that area that have similar features, similar age, similar construction, and similar upgrades. It probably sold within the last 3 to 6 months, much like an appraiser would do. A buyer on their own would not be able to find that information. And in fact, a lot of our properties here might even sell off market. So working with a buyer's agent will help you uncover those properties that are not visible to a buyer otherwise. They're going to review the seller's disclosure package, any municipal utility district or property improvement district documents, HOA documents with you. They're going to help you with the title company, all of those things, all of those factors, which the average layman just wouldn't know about and wouldn't know about going about how to do it. And also, we really try to find out from the listing agent What's important to the seller? Is it timing? Is it a lease back? Is it that they don't want to make repairs, but they are willing to negotiate on price for anything major that you find during your inspection? How are you going to find the best inspectors out there? Do you know about different situations? For instance, on insurance, we're finding that a lot of insurance rates are going up based on different risk factors in Texas and where you're located. Some areas of Texas might be in a flood zone or might be more prone to the risk of fire, etc. How old is the roof? How old is the house? And does it have a drain line that is probably over time going to disintegrate? By the way, we just sold a house a couple of weeks ago that had that issue, and we were not surprised about it. And we kind of talked to our sellers about it ahead of time because we'd sold other homes in that neighborhood of a similar vintage, and it's very, very common in that area for those drain lines to disintegrate over time, and they must be replaced. So that can be a huge ticket item. Either the seller doesn't know about it, or if you're going straight to a seller, they might not have disclosed it, even though by law they should. Identify those risks before you go into a contract, and also know about all the documents that are necessary. So most of our documents are promulgated by the state of Texas, but some are going to be unique to the brokerage that your buyer's agent works for. Probably a few disclosures there. And then others might be unique to notices, things like property improvement districts or public utility districts or municipal utility districts called MUDs, PUDs, and PIDs. So if you're not aware of those, don't be surprised, or they're just not that well known. But it is a factor in your taxes. Do they understand your homestead exemptions, your senior exemptions, things of that sort? Do you have a veteran in the family that maybe can qualify for a VA loan? Or in some cases, we've seen veterans that have a reduced or almost totally eradicated tax bill because of their status as being injured over the years. Great buyer's agent will help you avoid stress. They'll bring clarity to the transaction. They will walk you through all of the different things that have to happen during your contract to closing period of time once you are under contract. And they will help you renegotiate when necessary based on inspections. They'll help you with understanding the documents. And in fact, that relationship with a great buyer's agent goes well beyond closing. If you have an interest in finding contractors, installing a pool, or doing something else to your home after you move in, they're oftentimes going to be able to point you in the right direction and help you with their short list of great contractors. So again, this is Linda Welsh from Linda Welsh Realty Group, and I would love to help you with your real estate. But if you have any questions, by all means, just reach out. Thanks.